Hi, everybody. This is the next in the series of SPSS mini lectures with an assignment at the end. Right now, I'm going to show you guys how to look at data using SPSS. The last mini lecture was how to create a database, and you all did that very nicely, and I hope you had a good experience, not too frustrating, and you found that it's really not that hard to create a database. Now I'm going to show you the next step. So if we go over to my documents, and Sterling Courses, Class Survey. When you click on a .sav file and you have SPSS loaded, that will automatically bring SPSS up. Now, I'll show you in variable view. This is actually a survey I put together for a class that I was teaching, just to have an example for the students. So it was kind of off the cuff, and forgive me if it seems a little silly, but anyway, what I wanted was a variety of different kinds of data, and I have here age, gender, race, salary, education, number of marriages, attractiveness. Now, if you can see over here, you can see that this is a mistake. Attractiveness would be ordinal, and the reason I say that is, see over here that, oops, see over, wow, I don't know what happened there. Sorry, you guys. Let's go back to this. Okay. Now, do you see how this is a Likert scale? We were having fun as a class, and we labeled a 10 as dime. But anyway, okay, so that's ordinal, and then charisma is also ordinal, right? 1 to 10. And I'm going to say happiness is probably, I also have that on an ordinal scale. Okay. This is estimate of, this is intelligence. We have the estimate of a WAIS score. Weekly hours worked. Health, that's going to be nominal. Either they're healthy or they're not. Religion, also, either they're religious or they're not. Weight is scale and height. Then we have some political affiliation. Now this stuff, I thought this was interesting. This is the 5 personality factors. And so we have nervous versus confident, friendly versus cold, outgoing versus solitary, organized versus careless, curious versus cautious, and education category is, that's actually ordinal, but we'll leave it as nominal. The reason I say this is ordinal is that if you graduate from high school, if you graduate from college, you must have graduated from high school and so on. So this is not just a name, but it's also an order. So, okay, I actually will make that right. Okay, so all right, so here's, we're going to look at this database a lot, and I'm going to upload it to the class, and then I'd like you to download it from the class so that you can have some time exploring it. But just so you know, these aren't real responses. This data is not confidential. The way I got this information is I just asked everyone in the class to think of someone they knew and give their approximate, their guesses about that person based on how they knew, what they knew of the person. So, for example, subject 1 was one of the students in the class thought of a 43-year-old that they knew. I forgot. I think we said gender of 2 is male, but we could look in variable view and go over here, and yeah, gender 2 is male. And their race, again, you can see in variable view what 4 is. I forgot what that was. How much they make per year, education, and so on. And then category, and married versus single. Okay, so what I want to show you guys is how to explore data. And this mini lecture on SPSS is going to talk about how to get descriptive statistics. And then next time we do this, it is going to be how to do inferential statistics like ANOVAs and t-tests and correlations. But for today, go to Analyze and go to Descriptive Statistics, and let's just go to Descriptives, and we'll look at yearly salary. Now, when we go to Options, it automatically checks the mean, the standard deviation, the minimum, and the maximum. And I think that should be enough for our purposes. Now, you can put more than one variable on here, but just for simplicity's sake, we'll start just with salary and click on OK. And what you can see is the minimum salary is 0 as someone who's unemployed. The maximum is $250,000. The average of the people in this sample, 61,800 per year, with a huge standard deviation of 55,000. So there's a lot of variability amongst the participants in this group when it comes to salary. Okay, now this is output, so we're going to want to go back to this picture and just look at now something like, I'll show you how to get a few of these on at once. Let's do years of education and number of marriages and estimate of waste, and just click on OK. Now what we have is, you can see that in our sample, the years of education, the most uneducated person only had 2 years of education, whereas the maximum was 21, which, if you think about it, that person has probably a PhD. The mean years of education is post-high school, right? This is almost college graduate. Number of marriages, 0 to 3. Average number of marriages was rounded off to about 1. And estimated WACE IQ score, remember that 100 is average on the WACE, 85 to 140 with an average of 116. So what this means is that our sample is 1 standard deviation smarter than the average population, which kind of makes sense because, you know, these are graduate students and they're probably hanging out with other smart people. Okay, now you might be wondering, well, what if we wanted to look at the average income of men versus the average income of women in our sample? The way to do that is to go to Analyze and go to Descriptives, but go to, I think it's Explore. And the factor list will say is gender, and the dependent list will say yearly salary. And then for statistics, okay, it just automatically does descriptives. Okay, and we click OK. And now what we have is we have an N of 18 women and 7 men. And the mean yearly salary for women is $52,000. The mean yearly salary for men is $86,000. So in our sample, we can say it does appear that there's some real inequality here, that the women have more variation in how much they make than the men, and the men definitely have a higher mean. Now you might be wondering, is that difference between the means statistically significant? And the answer is we don't know until we do a t-test, but that's next week. So for right now, we'll just be satisfied that we know how to explore this, to look at the differences between, the means between the different genders. Let's see, what else can we do when it comes to descriptives? Okay, I don't want to do that one right now. Okay, for frequencies, let's say that we have attractiveness, charisma, and happiness, and we want to look at the median. Why would we look at the median for those? The answer is those are ordinal, right? And continue. And then also we'd want to look at, let's just say, bar charts. And continue. And okay. Now, what we have is, in our sample, we have, on attractiveness, maybe perhaps some overly generous people said that out of the total sample, 6 were at the dime level. Or maybe it could be that we're just more likely to think of an attractive person when asked to fill out a survey about someone we know. But as you can see, this appears to be that the people in our sample were more attractive rather than less attractive. For charisma, we had a few who were at the President Obama level of charisma, which is, by the way, above cult leader, and there's leader. And then for happiness, this looks like a more kind of even expected distribution. No one at the, fewer people at the extremes, and more in the middle. So if we look here at the median, where is it? I'm not seeing median, but I thought I asked for that. Oh, there it is. Okay, so the median score for attractiveness is 8, charisma is 8, happiness is 7. Okay, I think that's probably enough for explaining how to do this. I bet you guys will do just fine on an assignment where I simply ask you this. And let me make a note so that I'll put it in the assignment. You won't have to remember what I'm saying, but what I want you to do is analyze this particular database and send me the mean age and the standard deviation for the age. And I want you to give me hours worked by gender. So that means the average number of hours worked by men and the average number of hours worked by women. And then let's say we'll divide up people who are friendly versus cold, and we'll do happiness by friendly versus cold. So I want to see the average happiness score for friendly people and the average happiness score for cold people. Okay. And then do the mean years of education and the standard deviation for that. Okay, now I think that should do it. I want you guys to know that I expect that when you're done with this assignment, you'll feel pretty comfortable with exploring a database and finding information about the mean, the median, standard deviation, and looking at it more closely so that you, for example, look at the mean and the standard deviation of people, let's say, in different religious groups on intelligence or something like that. So that that's this one right here, where you go to descriptives and you go to explore, and here I'll show you that one. We'll do not religiosity, but I think we had no, we don't have actual religion. Okay, well, we'll do religiosity then. So religiosity is either yes or no, and then we'll do intelligence, which would be estimate of waste. Click on OK. So then we have religious people in our group scoring 117.9 and non-religious people scoring 114. And so if you look at this, what you'll see is that in our sample, the religious people were seen as more intelligent than the non-religious people. Okay, so if you find that as a result of doing this exercise you feel you get frustrated or you get confused or questions come up, please don't hesitate to call me or email me. I'd love to hear from you guys, and I know that you might not need me, in which case that's fine, but if you do, don't feel like you're bothering me. I am more than happy to spend a little bit of time to explain stuff further. Okay, happy data analyzing. Bye-bye.